This is James Christopher. Now, usually, before we make a baseball show, we got to throw us some baseballs. We're out here watching the Greenville Flyboys. This is Let's Get To. And I am a free agent.
Welcome to Let's Get To, the baseball show from the fans' perspective. Now here's your host, James Christopher.
And welcome to Let's Get To. I'm going to do my best not to just dance along to Stevie Wonder's Superstition, by far his best song. Don't at me on that one. I'm out here at Tusculum University, Pioneer Park, with Nathan Bybee, home of your Greenville Flyboys. We're having a great time. We've talked a bunch on this show how much we love the new branding. We love that the Appalachian League has been able to kind of cast away the identities of their former major league partners and adopt things that feel local to their community. So it's been really cool to be out here. One of the really cool reasons to be out here is it's sort of a conquering hero situation. I was actually here before, about 10 years ago, attending easily the worst film festival I'd ever been to. Now, caveat is Tusculum did not put the film festival on. I don't think that film festival exists anymore, but it was a pretty awful opportunity to be screening a film to no one, just myself. So I got a little depressed, and I start driving around the stadium, start driving around the campus, and I come across an Astros logo. It was like manna from heaven. I could hear angels singing, because it turns out these guys used to be the short season affiliate for the Houston Astros. Now, a lot's changed since then. They're no longer a short season affiliate. They are Collegiate Summer League, and they have really adopted this new form of baseball and are really running with it. So we're excited to be out there. We're excited to support Kat and all of her team out here at the Greenville Flyboys. We have a great episode coming for you today. We have baseball from all over the country, so stay with us.
From the bleachers, the Let's Get To Game of the Week.
This just in. We have some breaking news. The Let's Get To team is excited to congratulate the Greenville Flyboys on their very first ever Appy League title as the Flyboys and as a Collegiate Summer League team. They won in dramatic walk-off fashion this week, and we can't be happier for them. We followed how hard they've worked, going from being the Greenville Reds to being the Greenville Flyboys. Kat and her team have put in all the work behind the scenes. The guys have played their hearts out on the field, so it couldn't have happened to a better group of guys. We had a great time in Greenville, and we can't wait to show you what we saw, which we're going to do right now. We pulled into Tusculum University, home of both the Division II Tusculum Pioneers and the Appalachian League's Greenville Flyboys, ready for our first Appy League game. The ballpark is meticulously kept, forming a pristine bastion for baseball's future, a haven for the stars of tomorrow. Meticulous is again the best way to describe the playing surface. I've not seen many that equal this: the well-manicured grass, the warning track smoothed out in a rusty contrast to the emerald green growing within it. The seating bowl itself mixes those same contrasts with the stadium seating and the brick that makes up the concourse. This is the first year of the Flyboys brand, and it stands out as one of the best in minor league baseball. Its reference to America's military past makes for a unique, classy look. The logo looks great on a t-shirt and on a mascot. And I love the look of the cream uniforms as opposed to traditional white. I'm very impressed with how much the brand, which is still relatively new, permeates throughout the whole ballpark. They get so much right about the minor league experience, from great food choices, diverse beer choices, and a fun spot for kids, or baseball show hosts, to play. The Flyboys represent the best in how to create a minor league baseball identity by incorporating the Who, a town in Tennessee with a tradition of military service, with the Why, to create a local brand that the town can rally around, no matter who their major league loyalty belongs to. It's baseball done right, it's baseball done perfect, and it's baseball done in the kind of way that will keep the game growing across all American communities, no matter the size.
Raiders of the Lost Diamond. a look into baseball's past.
And so we're back with Raiders of the Lost Diamond, and we're talking the history of baseball in Greenville, Tennessee. And that baseball is on display in a full museum in Pioneer Park at Tusculum University. Professional baseball has been played in Greenville since the Greenville Burley Cubs were formed in the 1920s. And up until 1942, they played as an affiliate for both the Cubs and the Indians. Baseball came back to Greenville in 2004 in the form of the Greenville Astros, and they were an affiliate until their 2017 World Series champion season. Current Astros superstars that played in Greenville include the 2017 MVP Jose Altuve and former Rookie of the Year Carlos Correa. The Greenville Astros would set a franchise record for wins in their first year and lead the Appy League in attendance from 2004 to 2014. In 2017, the Astros affiliation ended and the Greenville team became the Reds, a name they would keep until they moved to Collegiate Summer League Baseball and became the Flyboys. Baseball is a game with 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the present with an eye on its future. I love that the Flyboys keep their past at the fingertips of their fans through this great museum. Anyone attending a Greenville Flyboys game must check out this amazing space.
7th inning stretch. A look at baseball's hometown.
The day after the game, we set out to explore Greenville, Tennessee, about as idyllic a small town as you'll ever see. We spent the night at the General Morgan Inn, named for a prominent Civil War general. The hotel has seen all manner of guests, including future Texan Davy Crockett and current Texans Nathan and I. We really loved the bar at the hotel. The ambience, the drink selection really helped us settle in. For breakfast, we hit up Tipton's Cafe, a small cash-only joint with literally the nicest people and literally the best biscuits and gravy I've ever had. They were so nice, in fact, that I even helped them with a pesky horned frog problem. As a movie guy, I love old theaters, and the Capitol Theater is no exception. It's been open since 1939 and remains a hub for movies and other events. At the Greene County Courthouse sits a Civil War statue, but what stands out about it is that it memorializes a Union soldier and the failed attempt to keep Eastern Tennessee from seceding with the rest of the South. It's a shocking historical revelation and a reminder that not everyone thinks or acts in a monolith. Greenville, Tennessee, in fact, was occupied by the Confederacy to keep it from staying with the Union. We were in awe of the memorial to Sergeant Kinsler, who jumped on a grenade to save his squad in World War II, and to the monument of all the surrounding community who served in many of America's wars. We visited the home of President Andrew Johnson. But the real hidden gem in Greenville is the City Garage Car Museum. With an unassuming exterior hiding the treasure inside, when you walk in, you're transported to car heaven. When you walk in, Wilbur greets you like you're an old friend, and he lays out the museum for you. I mentioned to him that he should charge more because of the collection, but he said that the owners, the Bewleys, didn't want to take advantage of people. That is some good old-fashioned Southern hospitality. They just want to share the cars. I don't want to show too much. I want you to come and see this museum for yourself. Any car enthusiast should and must make this trip. And me, I just hope I can get back in time. That's a Back to the Future joke. Greenville encapsulates what I love so much about doing Let's Get To. We came for the baseball, and the baseball exceeded our expectations. And then we fell in love with a tiny part of America that we might not have had the chance to visit before. What's better than that?
Holler and a Swaller, a chug of ballpark brew, presented by The Hitter Sports.
All right, we're back here on Holler and project a little bit because the microphone's a little off. So we're back here on Holler and a Swaller. We're coming to you from a hotel room with a fireplace.
It has a fireplace, yes.
Yes.
We're here at the General Morgan in Greeneville,
Tennessee, yeah. We were at the Flyboys game tonight. Overall thoughts of the ballpark?
Great ballpark. It's a beautiful red brick ballpark. The playing surface was amazing. It's one of the best we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Very green, very lush. It's got a gorgeous setting. It's set sort of in the hills with a lot of tall trees in the outfield. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it really was. Very nice, small, intimate ballpark. Really good play we saw. I mean, we saw home runs. So what else do you want? Chicks dig the long ball, and so do we. Let's talk about what we drank. So first we had a microbrew from the ballpark. What do we have?
Yes, we had 2 from Wicked Weed in Asheville, North Carolina, so nearby.
Mm-hmm.
We had the Pernicious IPA. That's what you had.
And that's what I had. It was delicious.
And I had the Appalachia IPA. Yeah. I thought the Appalachia was great. Had a very citrusy flavor, very, sort of forward. It was very good.
Okay. And then we got back to this gorgeous hotel room, the General Morgan. As we joked, Captain Morgan got a branch transfer, and here he is. And what did you have? What do we have tonight?
So tonight here at the hotel, we're having a couple of brews from the Highland Brewing Company, also out of Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm having the Gaelic Ale, and you are having the AVL IPA.
All right. Well, it's been a good trip so far. Next episode, you're going to see us coming to you from Johnson City. But until then, holler and a swaller.
Holler and a swaller.
Who's on first? The Let's Get To Local 9, brought to you by Zoomer Sport.
So we're very excited to welcome back old friends to the show, the Midland Rockhounds, with a new face behind the camera, Jeff and Holly. Jeff, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Game night tonight. So Rockhounds are back in town, and we're excited.
You know what? I don't want to jump ahead of the course, but I love that ballpark. I'm excited to get back out there in the next couple of weeks. Before we jump into that, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you go from being, kid who likes baseball, I presume, to being in the upper levels of a front office of a AA baseball team?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So I was in graduate school at the University of Tennessee in 1992 and 93, trying to figure out what in the heck I was going to do after I graduated, and stumbled across something called the baseball winter meetings. Decided I'd go to that and look for a job. It was in Atlanta in 93, and talked to a number of teams. Decided that of the offers that I got, Midland was the place that I wanted to go. So got here in January of 94, and I've been here ever since, 28 years ago. So
let's talk about that then. You have what I love to use the Midland example when I try to tell people what minor league baseball is, because you're branded now that reflects the industry of the town you're in. You see the town and your patrons, therefore, with how oil goes up, how oil goes down, all the things that happen. Tell me what it was like in 2020 when it finally hit the realization that you weren't going to be able to serve that community by having baseball games.
Yeah, it was a shock, for us, just like it really was every minor league baseball team, totally out of the blue. I mean, I'll never forget, kind of that stuff was starting to hit a little bit. And, we do some work at the football soccer stadium next door, things like concessions and things like that, in addition to all of our Rockhounds games here at this stadium. And I'll never forget, because some of that stuff had kind of started to be canceled a little bit over there. And there was a high school baseball game being played here at this stadium, whatever it was, March 12th, March 13th, something like that, middle part of March 2020. And it was just kind of the last event that was allowed, before everything got closed down. And I just, we don't have a whole lot to do with those high school baseball games that are played here at our stadium, but I look out my window, which is, right here, the way that I'm facing, and I can see the field. So I'm just kind of looking out there one day thinking, man, is this going to be it? Is this game going to be the last thing that we have here for a while? And sure enough, it was. Everything closed down, and we're trying to figure out, okay, now what are we going to do? We've sold season tickets and we've sold advertising, and we've spent a lot of that money that we've received in for season tickets and things like that. And now we can't deliver on a season. No fault of ours, no fault of minor
Sure.
league baseball, no fault of Major League Baseball, who ended up, ultimately making the call. And, just like everything got closed down, we did too. So, yeah, it was really surreal just to say, now what?
One of the things I wanted to compliment you and your team on, I was very impressed with how the Rockhounds and other teams stayed engaged on social media, and they stayed engaged even when there was no baseball to be played. I think that you guys deserve a pat on the back for at least still being there for the fans, who everybody was in the same situation, unsure of what to look like. And it was kind of like, it was nice to still have some semblance of baseball left, even if it was just virtually.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really all that we kind of identified that we'd be able to do when we've been shut down is, okay, we don't have games. We don't have fans coming out to our ballpark anymore, at least for the short term of 2020, which ended up being all of 2020, which we didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
But we knew certainly there was going to be at least a delay, and there ended up being a complete cancellation or whatever. So what did we try to do? We just tried to stay engaged, like you said, on social media and stay in contact with our fans and everybody else of Midland, West Texas, the Permian Basin, just baseball in general through social media. And just try to, I guess, identify a few unique ways to stay engaged through social media, which I think we did a pretty good job of that, just like all of minor league baseball really kind of did a really good job of that. In addition to us, I think that's one of the strengths of minor league baseball is being creative and being unique to come up with some things within social media kind of on the fly that we haven't ever done before, in order to stay engaged with our folks.
And I think you did a great job. Let's jump ahead to 2021. Texas, we opened up a little bit quicker, and I think things got back to normal a little bit faster. But what was it like, again, for you to now be back in 2021 and you're starting to see people back at the ballpark again?
Yeah, it was funny. Like I said, at the beginning, this is my 28th year. So I've been doing this for a long time, and and a number of us here have been here for a long time. So we've had a lot of opening days, and we know what needs to be done in order to get ready for a season, just because we've done it for a number of years. And it was different in 2021 at the start of this season than it was any other year, because we, took a year off. So there was a lot of things that not necessarily that we forgot to do, because we've been doing it for such a long time, but it was just, oh yeah, that's right, we've got to do that again. We hadn't done it in 2 years, had gotten ready for an opening day. So yeah, there was that challenge. And then on top of that, also, there was a lot of new things that was COVID related that was implemented by Major League Baseball for all of the minor league baseball teams for the start of this 2021 season that we had never gone through before. So on top of having to get ready for a new season when you haven't had any events in your ballpark for, what did it end up being, 18, 19, 20 months, whatever that number was, since the end of the 19 season to the start of the 21 season. But now you've got additional COVID precautions and things that you've got to go and put in place for your fans, for your team, for your ballpark, that we had never done before, to try to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, I can't imagine the struggle. I do want to talk a little bit about contraction, because obviously some teams left in the mix. But how cool was it for you guys to keep that relationship with Oakland and continue to be their AA team?
Yeah, that was awesome. We thought all along, to be honest, we thought we were going to be okay in terms of, that number that was being pared down. We didn't really, I guess, ever think that we might be on that cut line. But until you officially get that word, you just never really know. We're not a huge market here. There's forever, Midland's been, about 100,000 people. And of course, we've got Odessa right down the road another 100,000 people. And of course, right now, Midland's not 100. It's, I think it's more like 125, 130,000, something like that. Still, that's not a huge market. So we were relieved once we found out that we were still invited to the party, and we love the A's. And from what we hear from the A's, they love us too. So we were really happy to still be affiliated with those guys, in addition to still being an affiliated team. For our affiliation not to change and to continue on with the A's was really music to our ears, because there was, one of the teams in our league, Amarillo, who was affiliated with the Padres, they ended up being changed to the Diamondbacks so that the Padres could go down to San Antonio when San Antonio came back in our league. So again, in addition to not knowing if you're still going to be affiliated, on top of that, not knowing who you're going to be with, just causes a little bit of apprehension, I would guess. So there was a big relief on our part, even though we didn't think there was going to be a change, to hear officially, there's no changes.
Yeah, and again, great news for you guys. I do want to pour one out, though, for the loss of the Texas League name. I'm really hoping they figure out a way to bring that back once we can get down the road a little bit.
Yeah, we're with you on that. And I think a lot of the teams, I would say probably all of the teams in our league, are certainly on board with the Texas League as a name. And we're hoping that also, just like you said, comes back for 2022.
Yeah, even if it's the Let's Get To sponsors I can sponsor the Texas League. Maybe they'll sell me.
Call me. Yeah.
We'll go for it. Hey, as we wrap up, Jeff, let's look at the schedule real quick. So you guys are it's again, different year. I think this was one of the things that made the most sense to extend the AA season. You guys are now going to play all the way to mid-September. It makes sense from the perspective of when you don't have the old days when you did the September call-ups for the major league side. You need to have players playing and ready to be called up. What's it mean for you guys, though, about getting to do essentially 2.5 more weeks of baseball into the fall?
Yeah, it's great news for us, because when we started this season late, we knew that we weren't going to be starting in April. And we just had our fingers crossed that the season would get extended on the backside so that we could get to forever. We've had 70 home games, right? And with no April games, we knew that our number was going to be fewer than what it's been in the past. And luckily, we were granted some additional games in the month of September that we've never had before. Normally, in every other year, we're always finishing up Labor Day weekend, that first weekend of September. And this year, we've got a game on September 19th. Regular season game. So it's great to have those extra, whatever that is, 2.5 weeks worth of games. Just gives us some extra dates and some extra things that we can promote. And we're just excited to be playing longer this year than we've ever played in at least my previous 28 years.
Yeah, I love that end date. I think it's a great idea for baseball. Jeff, thanks so much for jumping on Let's Get To. We're going to see you out there in about 2 weeks. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you out here on the 21st of August. Just let me know what we need to do, and we'll certainly take care of you guys.
Who's on first? The Let's Get To Local 9, brought to you by Zoomer Sport.
And we're excited to jump on to Let's Get To with Preston Leinenbach of your Evansville Otters. Preston, how's it going, man?
Going good. Here, kind of starting the stretch run for our baseball season. Nice to say that after we didn't have baseball last year, but yeah, feeling pretty good. Here in August, it's time to kind of make our move for a postseason push, and we're all excited about it.
I love that part of it, because the difference, obviously, between indie ball and affiliated ball is you actually do care about winning and getting to the championship and stuff like that. And we'll get there for a second. A little bit about you, though. How did you end up going from what I presume was a little kid who liked baseball to being in the front office of a professional baseball team?
Well, oddly enough, I never actually played baseball. I chose a different sport to focus on, which I know nowadays is not the right thing to do. A lot of people say you should play multiple sports, which I did early on, but then eventually I kind of narrowed it down a little bit. But I never did actually play true competitive baseball, I guess. So I guess the real passion for it just grew up being a baseball fan, just watching on TV, going to games, major league games. And then I started getting kind of a football. Okay, I really have a passion for sports in general. So I want to work in sports, whether it be broadcasting, sports information, media relations, that kind of aspect where I'm working with the team still. And so going into high school, throughout high school, and then going into college, that was really what I wanted to major in. That's what I did. Luckily enough for me, before my senior year in college, the Evansville Otters had an internship opening. I reached out, applied for it, got it. And I guess I did a good job during my internship because they asked me to come back full time once I graduated. And since I didn't have to look for a job that was right there presented to me, I had to take it. Now I'm here in my 5th season.
That's pretty awesome because you don't usually hear it's usually a story of bouncing from team to team to team, working your way up the internship ladder and now you're director of communications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's been kind of nice to have that stability for me in my own personal life, to have that job security, and just kind of not having to move around and just be able to know in, day out, but I'm going to be here at the Otters and doing what I need to do every day.
I want to talk a little bit about the thing we promised not to talk about anymore in society starting December 31st of this year, and that's 2020, the lost season. You're somebody who has devoted your education and a large percentage of your lifetime to this game. What was it like for you on a personal level to not really have baseball back in a way that we were used to having it?
Well, it's just like for everybody. It was strange. It was an odd feeling. The normal was out the window. And, at that time last summer, we didn't know when normal would come back or even at least come close to it. Luckily for us, we didn't have to suffer, I guess, the negative side of the pandemic from a business standpoint as much as a lot of other organizations did. And we didn't have to, really lay anybody off, make cuts. It didn't really affect us financially in a negative way. So we were very fortunate in that aspect. So for most of early spring last year, when, all the stoppages started, sports started shutting down, we were still hopeful that maybe by midsummer, we at least would be able to have some kind of season, but we were still working from home just like everybody else was, because we're still doing what we need to do in the spring to get ready for a season, just from working from home. So, communication from not only for me, but for my job title, but for the overall organization, the office was very important, considering we weren't near each other every day. We were, each at our respective homes or whatever, libraries, wherever we went to work. And so that was very important for us to just kind of stay in contact, stay in the loop, on the same page. And then I guess it was about June or so, we started really getting a strong feeling that the season was definitely going to be very short, if anything. And then we started getting the hint like, okay, we're not going to be able to open up here locally Bossy Field. It's just not going to be an option with our regulations that were in place locally and statewide. So that was kind of creating an issue. And plus with the Frontier League and baseball in general, it's pretty spread out. There's a lot, large geographic reach. You got multiple states and regulations involved for the Frontier League. Last year, they had just welcomed in the new teams from the Canada League, and especially the few teams that were in Canada. So that was also another addition to the situation for the Frontier League, is, the border issue, I guess you would say, of getting to Canada, getting those teams here to the United States. And realistically, by the end of June last year, the Frontier League made the decision to cancel the championship season. Now, some teams did participate with their own little startup leagues, I guess, if they just kind of played. Florence, I know, played in the Battle of the Bourbon Trail Series with Lexington. And a couple other teams. Joliet had their own little league of 4 teams at their field. So a lot of teams are able to kind of just play within their own stadium, just kind of play multiple games there. Where we are, we really didn't have that option, so we really just had to cancel our season in summer. And then about July or so, we started coming back into the office, at least, kind of rotating how many people were here, who was working from home, who was actually at the office, rotated throughout the week. Fortunately, I guess it was late summer, August, so we were able to have a couple non-Otters, just kind of extra events to try to generate some revenue. But by fall, as everyone knows, another wave and surge came through with the pandemic, so we had to shut that down again. But like I said, overall, in the big picture, we were pretty fortunate. We didn't have as many negative side effects, I guess, from the pandemic like a lot of people. But this year, it's great to just be back to baseball and getting back to normal operations for us.
And what was it like for you to kind of be back that first time, in having, I'm sure you started with a small number of fans this season, and I know it sort of increasingly got bigger, but what was it just like on a personal note to kind of see it back almost normal?
Yeah, because in comparison back to last summer when we did come back to the office rotating who was here, coming up into the press box or wherever and just watching an empty field, even though it's summer, is just an odd feeling. Usually this time of the year, it's supposed to be fans, players on the field doing BP, working out, all that kind of stuff. And there just was nothing on the field. It was just literally an empty field. It just was a weird, odd, strange feeling. So then when we first came back, there was a little extra excitement this year for everybody because, again, last year was not normal. We didn't get to really have baseball and kind of the with it being a long baseball season. Normally, we like to have a lot of fun here, keep it very relaxed. We didn't get to have that last year, so we were excited just to kind of be able to get back together with our coworkers, have fun with them, have fun with our fans, throwing T-shirts back into the crowd. I mean, just all the fun stuff that comes along with the baseball season. The promotions on the field. Midsummer this season, 2021, we brought back some of our on-field promotions that we were originally planning not to have because we weren't sure where the situation would be in terms of sanitation and guidelines for that. But we brought back like sumo wrestling and some of our fan favorite promotions on the field as well. So it was great to kind of slowly make our way back. Hopefully it stays that way. I know things are kind of up in the air once again here nationwide, but hopefully it will stay that way.
Yeah, knock on wood a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit on the field stuff. You guys, like you said, it's a big geographic league right now. You've got 4 divisions, but right now you guys are essentially the class of the league. You've won 41 games. You've got a 2-game lead in your division. No one's come close to you guys in that same win total. Who's really stood out as far as who's driving the success the Otters are having right now?
But from an offensive standpoint, we had a couple returning players, not many. There was a lot of players who didn't return from the 2019 club. So it was kind of interesting for us to see how good this team would be, team chemistry-wise, the camaraderie, and being able to put it together on the field because there's just so many new faces. But overall, the team did very well despite that. I said a couple of key leaders coming back for us, but the one who has stood out the most is one of our newcomers, Riley Crane. We had no idea really what to expect from him. He's kind of jumped around the Frontier League a little bit, but he has shown the ability to come through in clutch moments, showing off his power. This year with the Frontier League adding the home run derby after the international tiebreaker extra inning, he's come through for us in those situations as we are currently undefeated, knock on wood again, with the home run derby. But
I got you.
For us, he's been outstanding. The RBIs, driving in runs, he's been fantastic. And he's such a versatile player. He can play pretty much anywhere in the field, whether it be first base, third base. I mean, he can probably play a little bit in the outfield as well. So he's been big for us as well. Another player to mention, outfielder Elijah McNamee. A lot of people know him from his career at Mississippi State. And he's been outstanding for us as well. He's batting .330 going into our current series and showing off his power because we really had a small sample size of him as he joined late in 2019. But this year I've seen what he can truly do, and he's been big for us. And then with our pitching, we've had a lot of injuries, but our pitching staff, thankfully, our coaching staff have been able to find guys who can come in, step in, and really fill those roles. In fact, our rotation for this coming series, Braden Scott, an Indiana Hoosier lefty, he's been really solid for us. Last time out, getting a dozen strikeouts for us in 8 innings. Polar Patella, Tim Holgrafer, who started out as a bullpen guy, worked his way into the rotation. Ryan O'Reilly. I mean, we've had a pretty solid group of pitchers come in late into the season that we really didn't expect maybe some of those guys to be in the rotation at the beginning of the year. So it was really the starters that's really been a big point from us from a pitching standpoint. And no surprise to us with our coaching staff and our pitching coach, Max Peterson in particular, that we're getting guys who can go deep into games, kind of help our bullpen out while also getting strikeouts. And that's something that I think if we can keep that balance, that's going to be a big key for us.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I'm always interested in, particularly like, again, dealing with like indie ball as opposed to affiliated minor league baseball, is you mentioned you have players that have come back year to year. How important is that as far as like really getting a grasp on the community as far as them knowing who these guys are?
It's huge. I think it's really huge. It's rare to see, especially in indie ball. We have guys constantly throughout the season, roster turnover, being cut, signing new guys because it's just not working out. Performance on the field, in the clubhouse, wherever it might be. Plus guys getting signed into organized affiliated baseball throughout the season. It's kind of tough to keep kind of the star players at times, the players that really our fans attached to. But nonetheless, going into this year, we brought back an all-time great for us in our organization, John Schultz. Basically leads the franchise in every career record possible. because he had previously been with the team from 2013 through 2017. Then at that time, the French League had an age limit because they want to focus really on the young talent in this league.
Right. Yeah.
So he had to find another place to play or find another career. But with the expansion with the K&M League last year, they kind of blended in their rules. So we were able to bring back a couple veterans, John Schultz being a key guy, like I said, and pretty much owning every career record in the Otters history books, as well as starting pitcher at the beginning of the season. He's actually injured right now, but he's such a big leader for us that, he's basically another coach, Tyler Vale. And he came back again this year, and really, again, just two key leaders for us more than anything that know how to kind of lead the new guys, the young guys with the Otters way of doing things here in Evansville. And that's been a big key for us, just to kind of have their voices in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds it's definitely something that I think is important. Talking about expansion, you mentioned the Can-Am League, which happened going into 2020. You also saw the expansion of the addition of the Tri-City Valley Cats whenever they sort of were left out of the musical chairs, Manfred's musical chairs, I like to call it. At a macro level, then, how do you perceive the strength of the Frontier League? Do you feel like it's just going to keep getting bigger and better and going to continue to get some momentum?
Absolutely. I think it's already shown, not just talking about from an Evansville standpoint, but all the teams who have had players get signed into affiliated baseball. There's just a lot of talent in this league, continuing to grow with the markets that we have reached out to. I mean, now we have teams in the Chicago area, Cleveland, Cincinnati markets, Pittsburgh, New York, up in Canada, Quebec, and Montreal. That's the thing. It was like, we're the second smallest market in our league, and we have the best record in the league. So it just shows the depth of the Frontier League in terms of talent on the field and the winning, losing, I guess you would say, comparison. And so for us, the Frontier League is going to get bigger, better. They're already talking about expanding even further in the next couple of years to possibly, hopefully, reach 20 teams. The addition of the Frontier League live TV streaming platform this season, where every Frontier League team is streaming their home games respectively. I think that's just a great way not only to get the fans more connected, raising the market awareness, the brand awareness of the Frontier League, but also I think it helps from an on-field standpoint for the players trying to get signed to the next level. It's easy to get their video out there and show it to scouts as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you guys are doing a great job down there. We're going to try to get up to see you guys in 2022. He is Preston Leinenbach of the Evansville Otters. Thanks so much for jumping on Let's Get To.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And now, on to close it out, the right-hander from Houston, Texas, James Christopher.
So we are out here at Pioneer Park, home of your Greenville Flyboys. I'm here with Ace. Ace, we had a great time tonight. Thanks for everything you've done. Seriously, we've always heard about how great the Appy League is. This is a proof positive as to why. One of the best mascots in minor league baseball, period. We've had a great time. All my baseball traveler friends, if you're going to be traveling around anywhere, get to the Appalachian League, get to the Greenville Flyboys, and most importantly, let's get to.